Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenneth Amechi, and I'm the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State Government, a job I do on a part-time basis. Beyond that, I'm a professor at the University of Edinburgh, where I hold a chair in sustainable business. I'm also a professor at the European University Institute, where I hold a chair in sustainable finance. So it's my pleasure to welcome you today to a second in the year of our webinar series. And today we'll be looking at opportunities in the tourism sector. It's always fascinating to have interesting panelists talk about opportunities in Imo State and for Imo people. And we are hosted today by the Honorable Commissioner for Tourism, Barrister Jerry Egemba. And I'll invite him now to say a word or two before we proceed.
Thank you so much for this meeting, this Zoom meeting. And I want to thank you and together with all the panelists that you've accorded this opportunity for us to discuss on opportunities in tourism in Imo State. There couldn't have been a more opportune time than now. President government of the state, by the governor of the state, Commissioner I decided to return Imo the glory of the past in the area of tourism. As a matter of fact, Imo has been known over a period of time as a tourism destination by stakeholders and interested tourists long before now, beginning with the time of Mbakwe and so on and so forth. Why is this so? Because there are a whole lot of natural endowed sites that God has beautified Imo with, that presents it as a tourism heaven, even without anybody doing anything. The Okigwe Rolling Hills is one of them. The Badaba Lake is another. The Uguta Blue Lake is yet another. The Mwori River is another. I mean, you can go on and on and on. These have been there, and from time to time, you've seen people, stakeholders, you've seen players enter into the ring and try to engineer tourism in the state. But I have never seen a more committed person handling and steering the ship of state, got much more interested in developing opportunities in tourism than the present government. So that's why I said this is a more opportune time to discuss this. And that's why I want to thank you for creating this enabling environment for us to discuss on this topic. As a matter of fact, talking about opportunities in tourism in Imo State, I would probably suggest that maybe somebody goes to the internet, tries to check and find a few of the opportunities that existed before now, but I'll probably mention some of them. Presently, we have had a hotel of a repute in Imo State. In fact, the only five-star hotel that was in the whole Eastern Heartland at a point, I mean in the whole Eastern state at a point, was located in Imo State, what we call the Concord Hotel. And Imo, by its position, makes itself easily accessible to all, people who are in the eastern part of Nigeria, and Imo has acquired a reputation as the place where people want to come for relaxations, particularly when they have a little opportunity to do so. And of course, its accessibility and its strategic location at the center of the east of the east. Why is this so? Because I mean, it's just like any person in any part of the an hour thereabout, and the entire southeast came to accept Imo to be a tourism heaven for them all. Not because of the natural facility like I talked about before. It's cuisines, Imo presents peculiar dishes, peculiar menus that you can't find in any other state. I'm sure you probably are aware of the popular Fowere and all of that, So all those are things people like to come and enjoy themselves. And then, of course, coupled with a whole lot of eateries, a whole lot of hotels, a whole lot of hospitality facilities that provide a comfort that people may need when they just want to recreate themselves. And presently evolving a very, very interestingly new but world-class recreational facilities, amusement parks, and so on and so forth. But talking about investment now, we have this plan to turn Were River into a tourism destination. We want to convert the Were River banks to Were River recreational facilities, and that is ongoing now. By the time we conclude with the work plan we are doing now, that will provide a veritable opportunity for as many as may wish to invest in the tourism industry. Then, of course, the Imo Blue Lake has been there. It served multiple purposes, including, providing comfort for tourists. The lake itself presents itself as a very tourism, a serious tourism attraction, because the Orash River, joining with the Oguta Lake, provides such a scenic, view that any person who just wants to forget about his troubles and probably be looking at nature will want to take a ride there. And as many as I've tried it, I know that I've ended up feeling very, very refreshed. And then, of course, there was a time when we had some facilities there, like hotel facilities, the Oguta Lake Hotel, and so on and so forth. Now we are trying to revisit Oguta and make the best out of it, so that it could return to its. Then, of course, we have the Abadaba Lake, which we're also trying to rehabilitate and make it a tourism destination. The late Sam Bakwe of blessed memory, the former governor of the state, gave some attention to Abadaba Lake, which appeared to have been abandoned for a period of time. So we're giving attention to Abadaba Lake with a view to rehabilitating the place and making it yet another tourism destination of a sort outside the metropolis. So, and that's quite a lot. If somebody is interested in investing in tourism, for instance, Imo presents it as a destination, as a place where stakeholders could come and afford themselves the opportunities we have, given unto us by nature, and see how they can improve on nature to make specific areas of attractions for tourism. Presently, this is creating enough enabling environment for investors. Make changes that seem to have slowed us down a bit, which is security. That's what seems to have affected the tourism industry. But that issue of security has been seriously tackled head on. This is the governor. Last Christmas, we had some wonderful time. I had a very serious, successful program of a tourism carnival last December, and we tried to announce to the world that Imo was safe for as many who want to come home for the Christmas. And I want to tell you that quite a lot of Imo people took up that challenge and they came home. In fact, in one community, for instance, about 120 something Imo diasporans, our people who lived outside, returned home to come and celebrate their centenary, and that is St. John's Anglican Church. They came home with all their families, and they enjoyed themselves. There was no incident of any kind at all. And as many as returned home last Christmas, because, had heard more or less responding to our clarion call. Today, a number of them are calling me, say, we didn't know Imo is this safe. I said, well, I don't mind the social media. They have a hyping negatives. They don't even take interest in publicizing the positives. And particularly, of course, when politicians come on stage, they introduce things that are bizarre, trying to undermine one another. They hyped the Imo security situation out of normal, out of reality.
Honorable Commissioner, that's a fair point to make, and also to corroborate that I was in Imo State. I was in Owerri from the, I think it was the 10th of December till the 1st of January. Although I don't live there, but I think your point is well made. And one thing I want to ask you quickly, if somebody is interested in investing in Owerri, investing in the tourism sector, what is the process? who should they contact? They need to come to you. And if so, you want to tell us where your office is or how we can reach you, or any person you think should be the contact person for that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Chief Economic Advisor. I'm happy with corroborating what I said concerning security. Yes, the Ministry of Tourism is located in the Secretariat. Most of the Secretariat is along Port Harcourt Road, and we are housed in the Block 8. And Block 8 is if you enter into Imo State Secretariat, for instance, you have to do a roundabout movement. The other side of the Secretariat, that's where you find tourism. And there are specific and very clear landmarks that will show you this is tourism. We even have a signboard there to tell you this is a Ministry of Tourism. When you come to Block 8, you come to first floor. Ask of the office of the Honorable Commissioner for Tourism. And I will encourage as many as are interested, please feel free to come, let's chat it up. Even if you want us to start chatting through the internet, I don't mind that, maybe through phone or Zoom meeting or, whatever. We are open to that. And I'll be glad if after this meeting, a number of people will put a call across to us, indicating their interest to come to Imo, so that I can, because this is a very brief one, so I can do more. I can elaborate more on the opportunities that exist in Imo State. I'm sure by the time I finish discussing with whoever is interested, you'll be satisfied and you feel glad to come. And then, seeing is believing, and the taste of the food is in the eating. Yes, I can assure you, you will not regret if you dare to find out more from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And if you're also struggling with that description, we can also reach out to the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor. It's our role to direct you to the different ministries that can also help you. And my co-moderator, Dr. Judin Zako, is also the director of Imo State Investment Promotion Agency. So these are agencies that are parts of the government there to help you make your investment decision in Imo State an easy one. So thank you, Honorable Commissioner.
Yeah, we also have a website which is accessible.
Okay.
Our website, Imo Tourism, www.imotourism.org. We have one people can get into and check us out. Imo State government also has a page on tourism in Imo State. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll showcase those web links as well to our listeners. So if you are just joining us, this is the Imo Economy Study Network, organized by the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State Government. And today we are focusing on the opportunities, business opportunities in the tourism sector. And we just heard from the Honorable Commissioner for Tourism, Barrister Jerry Egemba. So thank you very much. So let me move to my panelists now. So we have Chikeze Osuagu. Let me invite you to introduce yourself to our audience and help us understand the business of tourism in Imo State as you see it. Please, do you want to unmute yourself and give us the more like a short overview of the industry and the opportunities it has?
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, listeners and viewers. Chikeze Osuagu is my name. I'm a tourism enthusiast. That's how I refer to myself. And I'm also a tourism researcher. Basically, tourism, as the World Tourism Organization describes it, is about somebody who travels for 24 hours or up to 365 days, moving from where he or she lives to another destination and with the plan of coming back to his original destination. That's in a nutshell what tourism is all about, technically. But for us, people can also move from one place to the other and then come back just to see whatever is on the other side. And then you can spend as much time as you want, so long as you have a plan of coming back. Now, generally, the tourism industry has very many components, but sometime in 1979, it was decided that tourism operates within 7 or 6 areas. And I'll mention some of them, but personally, I look at tourism as having 5 A's. So some people say 8, some people say 7, but I look at the 5 A's of tourism, which means attractions. The attractions will be the destination where the person is going. If you don't have a destination, then you cannot talk about tourism. There must be a place to go to. So that is the attraction. The second one, which is very important, equally important, is the accessibility to that place. Accessibility in terms of how do you get from your home to the place, the attraction or the destination. So that is the accessibility, and this involves transportation, visa processing, if you have to travel outside your country, and some other facilities that you need to get to that destination. Another very important one is the activity, A for activity. You must want to do something there. You must do something when you get there, not just going there and coming back. You want to look around, you want to experience some things, you want to see some things, that's the activity. Another thing that is important is this, the fourth A, which are the amenities. What is on ground there to make sure that people enjoy where they go to? The amenities. In subsequent times, I'll discuss those amenities. And then the last but not the least is accommodation. If you have to spend a night there, you must sleep somewhere. And that is the fifth A, in my understanding of tourism. So this, in a nutshell, talks about the tourism companies, the tourism industry, the tourism system. I hope this gives an overview of the tourism.
I think I missed one of the A's. You have attraction, so there must be some form of attraction. Then you have activities, amenities, and accommodation. I think I missed one of them.
Accessibility.
Accessibility. Okay, great. So that means that you can find business opportunities in these different areas. So whether you're looking at the attraction part of it, or the actual activities people will do when they go to see places, and the amenities here. So we are looking at also what would constitute amenities? Do you want to reflect on that a bit? What sort of things would you have under amenities?
The amenities, if the tourist gets to a place, there must be something like facilities that he or she would use to enjoy the particular destination. If you get somewhere and there is a restaurant, but they don't have cold water or cold drinks, the amenities are the electricity. The amenities are seats where people have to sit down to watch a stream. If you're looking at a stream, there must be bridges for you to cross from one part of the river to another. Those and some other things, they're all interwoven, but these are the amenities that make people enjoy. And then if it's a stadium and you're going to watch a particular, if it's a football, in case of sports tourism, the amenity is the stadium where people have to stay to watch the event. Or if it's a wrestling match, like in our own environment, like if it's a wrestling match, there must be a barricade such that the regular wrestlers will be in somewhere and then people will be around.
No, I think I see what you mean now. So most of these things can also be provided by the government and other agencies as well as individuals. So the point of this is also to look at the business opportunities. What can people do in relation to tourism? How can they participate, benefit, create value out of tourism? Well, let me move to...
Yes, my name is Meke. I'm a travel journalist and also into marketing and promotion of this same sector that we are discussing, which is in fact very crucial. After we have seen all this, after it has been laid out just like K has done, what is the next bit? People need to know, investors need to know, the business people to know these opportunities are available. And then that's a come to government enabling environment in terms of taxation. If I invest 300 billion into this place, what will government do for me? Is there electricity? Is there any other tax incentives that could make me, stay put, employ people, open more doors, and invest further? These are critical areas in terms of promotion. People need to know. Without it, I believe that all the activities we are talking about, all the high points, actually would not really be meaningful, as the case may be. I listened to the commission, I rolled out a lot of things. The question I asked myself, even as an Imo indigen, though I know most of those places, how far have we gone in letting the world, even local investors, as the case may be, know that these things exist? You know, to have them is not just all that we needed to do. We need
so
to
Frank, what you're saying there in a way is that there could be an opportunity for somebody who is there also to promote the tourism in Imo State. An entrepreneur can do that, right? That's an opportunity you are highlighting there. Is that correct?
Yes. An entrepreneur can do that, but under an organized chain. Because if you drive it alone, because you need to also engage other sectoral players. It's not just about you alone. So there must be a high point, a meeting place where everybody will sit down and say, look, these are the benefits derivable, and this is the way you need to drive it. So it's usually organized. Promotion is usually organized, usually center-driven. So most of the times, individuals also do that, but it's a huge cost. Promotion is very expensive. For instance, we're on radio now. If you're at the end of the day, if we're able to quantify how much airtime costs in doing this, you will now know that the radio station have really done us a lot of beat, in this area. Because at the end of the day, what is their benefit? Most of the hospitality, restaurants, and everybody that's involved in this sector, we have to go to them, market their jingles, talk about their businesses through them so they get money. So now they are also investing, giving us this free airtime, so to say, as the case may be. So they're also part of that same ecology, that same system, ecosystem. So promotion, is very key. If without it, all the activities and everything we are saying, even bringing it, because our idea is attracting investment. With investment is key. That is the thing. So when we do that, also knowledge. People need to know. Tourism thrives on knowledge. And either, you want to use it to create jobs, or you want to also use it to promote your state. I remember 2 governments ago, I can't remember, 3 governments ago in Imo State, they came out with a dream package. In fact, like turning Imo into a Dubai. It was a very attractive thing. It was all over the channels and everything. And everybody was saying, what state is this? Imo and all those things. But at the end of the day, like we said, office. So I think we need to.
Frank, we are talking about opportunities. What opportunities do you see
those
for
are the opportunities
and for businesses? Because we are talking at a high level. Remember, the point here is that anyone listening to us can see how they can connect to this industry.
Yes. The opportunity, like I said, Prof, is like these areas where Kike has mentioned are good opportunities. So the question here is that how do I bring my money? Is it safe? My business safe? So it's very
we'll come to that. We'll come to the challenges at some point, but let's focus on the opportunities.
I'm not looking at it as a challenge. I'm looking at some of the factors that drives this investment, that drives these processes for it to be beneficial both to the community, because every attraction you see or is community-based. They're all community-based, yes. So those at the community level need to benefit from this investment, be it culture, be it sports tourism, be all these areas that we have mentioned. So they are, because they are community-based, then we need to really look at it and factor it. The opportunity that the communities will benefit, they will create just for them. And they need to, and one thing is that you are holding, of course, you're an investor. You also hold, for instance, in the area of culture, sports tourism, you hold their people in trust. You hold their dreams in trust for them. So that is the way it goes. Before you bring in a lot of 200 million people in Nigeria, if we can get 70 or if you can get 50 in Imo, I'm sure the likelihood of everybody will be smiling. We don't need to move. In fact, urban migration, from local to urban migration will actually stop, as the case may be.
Okay, fine. So, so do you want to introduce yourself and then tell us in practical terms some of the opportunities? I guess you'll be working in this area for a long time now.
Yeah, my name is Clara Braide, Nee Williams. I'm actually from Owerri, Imo State, and I think I have met you through McDonald Ebere. We have spoken. I'm a full daughter of Owerri and Chise, and I'm passionate about where I come from. I have done tourism with Cross River State government, 2 successive governments during Donald Duke's time. I was in charge of tourism coordination and the pioneer member of board of directors of the Tourism Bureau, which was a bureau specifically set up to drive tourism in Cross River. And afterwards, I was drafted into Senator Meke's government to work for 8 years as a commissioner in the Cross River State Tourism, Carnival Commission. Well, my experience is a wide experience because Cross River State became an international tourism hub, which is the benchmark for Nigeria. Having said that, in Imo State, there are a lot of tourism, opportunities that abound. I grew up in Imo State. I grew up in Owerri. I schooled in Owerri Shell Camp. I schooled in Owerri Girls. I'm homegrown. Even as children growing up, we were already doing tourism without knowing what we're doing. We used to go for picnics at Uguta Lake, Rogeni, our mama. Then when Concord came, we used to do picnics at Concord. Our friends used to come into town and we all go there, have fun. And Owerri was a beautiful town, very clean, very green. It was a civil service town, but people associated it with relaxation and fun. So for me, Owerri has everything it takes. Imo State as a whole has everything it takes to be a tourism destination. But there are certain things that need to be done. And I guess those things are being done already. I haven't listened to the commissioner of tourism on his lineup of activities. And I know that the present government, headed by Senator Senator Hope Uzodinma-Nwiyoko, is passionate about tourism. That's why we are here. If it wasn't passionate and interested.
Clara, thinking about the opportunities, you mentioned this in a kind of a broad term. So imagine a young person. Okay, yes. We'll come to that, right? Okay.
Yes. So for me, what we need in Imo State for tourism to thrive is executive will. Executive will is government, which, that is being done now because, if it wasn't there, we wouldn't be here, like I earlier said. We need infrastructural development. We need to document our tourism assets. What do we have? Apart from saying, oh, we have this, we have that, we have that. We have to document them, assess them.
So is that an opportunity for someone to do that documentation?
No, you start from somewhere. Yes, you need to put your house in order before you begin to.
Who's meant to do this? Are you saying that it's the government that should do it, or
yes,
is it also an opportunity for somebody to do? But
the government has to do the infrastructure.
I know the infrastructure bit. I'm thinking about the documentation part, the documentation bit.
Government has to engage, like you're the economic advisor right now, and you can engage consultants, and it can happen through your office. Really, it has to be done by government.
To do that, Clara, I'm trying to see the opportunity here, right? So what you're saying that there could be consultants who specialize in documentation. So that documentation in itself becomes an opportunity for individual businesses, right?
Yeah, it's all part of it. It's all part of it.
So that's why we're going through with this idea, so that because there is a tendency to say, oh, government, everything is about government, but what about the business opportunities?
Yeah. Yeah, tourism is a collective responsibility, actually. The enabling environment has to be there, and then the private sector will take it and drive it. Government does not drive tourism alone. It's a private sector activity, right? So for us, for me, tourism is something we do every day. People are already engaging in it. People have hotels, have built hotels. I come to Owerri and I'm shocked at the level of or the number of hotels that are in Imo State and Owerri particularly. I'm shocked at the restaurants. There are popular joints that people already know about. I know about Ndaleti, which is like a buka, but is a tourism destination, because most people who talk about Imo State associate it with food, and Ndaleti is one of the places that people want to see.
But do you think do you think Ndaleti thinks she's part of the tourism industry? So
she is, but she doesn't know.
Exactly, yeah.
She's part of the tourism aspect, but she doesn't know. So people she has to be educated to know that she's already in the industry. And then we need to standardize, because when she's educated, she now create a kind of standard. She's already a brand without knowing it, but there has to be some little injection of international best practice standard, so she would be able to attract a higher level or more traffic in her place. I know she already has a traffic, but
And
there
that
are so
can be
many
an
joints
opportunity
like
for
that.
someone. Sorry, Clara, that can also be an opportunity for someone to help people like Indeleti to, package and promote what she does as part of the Imo tourism.
Exactly. That's why we have tourism consultants. That's why we have a destination managers and destination marketers. It's their duty to go in, look at all those places that have potentials, huge potentials, and help them to bring them up. We did that sufficiently in Cross River. Calabar was like a civil service town and a laid-back place. They had it, but they didn't know they had it until that will of government to make it happen came. And then they brought in a lot of people. That's how Chike, the people like Chico Sago and the rest of them, Frank Meke, I met them all in the field, and we helped the state realize the huge potentials they had in tourism,
So you need to come and help
tourism is
your
an
state
everyday.
as well. Clara.
we are already. We are.
Okay, great.
We
great.
are, and we're willing to,
Okay, fine.
and there are a lot of opportunities in the transportation industry as well. I know that where even in Cross River, drawing from that experience, there were bike people who were running around throwing people down and playing rough, but we were able to, gather them together, branded them, painted their bikes blue, white, and Cross River color, gave them kits, helmets, and riders' uniforms, and they were looking very colorful. They became a part of the colors of tourism in Cross River at that time, and they were trained to, to educate people, answer questions when they carry passengers, take them to their destination, treat them well, and all that. But they were just regular bike people. We have a lot of bus cars in Imo State, cranky ones that are not looking good. Somebody can invest in bus cars, brand them properly, train the drivers, give them good uniform, train them to be courteous, and that becomes a huge business in the transportation sector in Imo State. There are various opportunities that are there. They're already there. It's just for us to bring it up to standard. Take, for instance, in hotels, they have waiters and waitresses. Some of them really do not know what how to treat guests. A tourism consultant can go in there, go to the hotels and undertake to train all the waiters in various hotels. That's a business opportunity for that consultant. Okay,
exactly.
And there are you can't even begin to imagine what tourism can do. Photographers, the woman who sells Zakara, whose Zakara is very popular and very sweet. We can a tourism consultant can go to her, train her a bit more. Government can inject a little funding, to her business, and she can brand that Akara. She can package it. You can have, she can, if she has funding, she can do a little sit out and where people can sit and actually enjoy the Akara. For those who want to take it away, it can be packaged in such a way that anybody can go in there and buy without caring what is your social status or not. Those opportunities are there. Tourism is a very bottom to top industry. It's not rocket science at all. It's just packaging that we need to bring it to standard.
Okay, great. I think we may need more than an hour to unpack the opportunities in tourism. I think the point you made about the motorbikes is a very interesting one, because in eastern part of Africa, they have this concept of border, where you have motorbikes. And people just, you see foreigners, they love the experience. Some of them have not been on that sort of motorbike.
Exactly. It
so that
becomes an experience for them.
Yeah, it becomes an experience. So here we're also looking at tourism, not only for Imo people, but it's also about people outside that's coming to experience Imo State and how Imo State is positioned as a center or a space for tourism would be interesting. But let me move to Chike. Chike, I want to invite you to reflect on the notion of cultural tourism, because we have been talking about tourism as if it's just about Owerri. Owerri is the capital, but there could also be opportunities for people in rural areas. And how can we leverage on this notion of cultural tourism to showcase our rural economies?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Clara said so much about what we did in Cross River 20 years ago. And I am so surprised that she still remembers all the details of everything we did. That's interesting. Cultural tourism is about marketing your heritage, things that you are used to, things that were passed on from older generations to the current one. But you can't just continue dancing, having masquerades and things like that without benefiting financially or economically from it, or even socially from it, if you don't bring in the tourism angle. And that's where, when we say cultural tourism, we say it is getting financial benefits from our cultural endowments. Now, a community that every rainy season they have a dance, and then everybody, after dancing, everybody goes home. How do they benefit financially? So that brings me to the aspect of because since this discussion is about the potentials, business potentials in tourism, bringing it down to business potentials in cultural tourism, of which Imo State has numerous events to market to the world. But having said that, let me say something. COVID made it impossible for anybody to move around. So for us in the tourism sector, we started looking at what can we do for us around our place to excite our people. When COVID is over, or the pandemic and other things are over, and the insecurity is over, can we market this thing to the outside world? And the thing we can market so much is our heritage, our culture, our traditional festivals, and so many other things. Now, the business opportunities in all these include things like tour guiding. Young men, women, companies, small companies, large companies can do tour guiding, taking people, bringing people from wherever they're coming, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, even from outside, since there's no more restrictions about traveling, we can bring these people and then take them around our cultural festivals. My community has a cultural festival that happens between June and August. A young person can package it and then sell it to people from outside and then bring them. The same thing, Oro, where it happens every year or every 2 years. The KG Festival of Arondizo happens nearly every 2 years. There are so many of them in Imo State that people can package and have them, people coming to watch these things, enjoy them. Now, when people come to watch these things, these festivals, they don't stay in their cars, they don't sleep in their cars, they have to stay in accommodations, small lodges or big hotels, guest houses, Airbnbs. So that's another aspect where young people can benefit. Some people even, like when we were in Cross River, I'm talking of 20 years ago, there were no major hotels except the 3-4-star hotel along Marian Road and one on Independence Avenue. Those were the 2 major hotels. But today there are so many guest houses. What we did was encourage families. Instead of having big houses that you don't use and you have cobwebs and rats and cockroaches living there, let people have these rooms for sale within the Christmas period, that between December 1 and December 31st, change white bed sheets, bring new beds, put them and rent these things out. A particular couple I know, Clara knows the couple I'm talking about, they even sold out their own private bedroom and were staying in their friend's home for the Christmas period, and they made so much money. From there, they transformed the place into a hotel. Now, another one again is attractions development. Communities can develop attractions. Some of these things you think are not exciting for even the shrines that our people, in quotes, our current Christian people are for. These are attractions for the foreigners. I remember some places I went to in Brazil, and there were shrines. In India, I had to go to shrines, and I paid money to see all these things. It didn't change my attitude to Christianity, but I saw what other people are marketing. And then I believe that we can do them here. Another aspect is, well, the events marketing, I've talked about that. Then another one is transportation services. People can also provide transportation services. Small cars, big cars, buses, you can provide all these things to the general public as a tourism service provider. You can also provide narratives. Some people can write out the history of their communities, put them on paper, and then find a way to market them. Since online marketing is available now, these things can be developed. It's not only putting your dance steps on TikTok and things like that. There are things you can document your community. You can put them on TikTok, you can market and then put your phone number or your email for people and publicize it all over the world. Somebody might pick it up and then tell you, I'm interested. When is this happening? I want to come. Another one is restaurants, local bars, but you must do it in such a way that it is appealing to me, appealing to you, appealing to the next person. The fact that you have a restaurant, you cook well, but if it's dirty, it's not exciting to people outside. If I come there today, I won't go there, I won't come again tomorrow. If it's dirty, if your plates are dirty, if your plates are not white, they're not clean, I won't come there. If your drinks are not cold, I will not come there. There's a man I know, he sells only goat meat, and he roasts these things in open fire with so much pepper, palm wine, in one of the communities in Imo State. We drive from Owerri anytime I come to that place to eat that goat meat and then come back. It's a resource for tourism development. Another one again is the marketing and advertising. We need to really market all these things, promoting them properly. Well, promoting and advertising are parts of marketing, but we need to do all these things properly and then standardize them. And that's where standardization comes in. Prof, I remember sometime about 4 months ago when we were talking about photography, and I told you there is no need putting pictures of other countries in brochures marketing Imo State. It's wrong. It's not proper. We need to put our own. And then if we just want to put our own and then put any photograph there, it doesn't do us well. We need to have proper photographs of our place. The confluence of Imo State, if you look at it from a drone or even from a low-flying aircraft, you see that one part is green, the other part is brown. There's a phenomenon there that needs to be explained. And people want to see exciting destinations like this. There are so many other places. You want to take our money.
So what you're saying there, Chike, is that there is a business there for a good photographer. And then probably also use the digital space to sell. Because one thing is, yes, we have people who help us with the graphics, but when they are searching for pictures in Imo, on Imo State, they only find the things out that they can use. But if we have them developed, then they have a lot more to choose from. So I think that's a fair point to make. And also thinking about one of the things we are trying to promote now, which is the Kindred Economic Empowerment Program, where we are still thinking that one kindred should have a business, one kindred, one business. So there is also space for kindreds to tap into this cultural tourism as a way to showcase what they have and create businesses out of that. So let me quickly move on to Frank. I think he had an example of some people he has helped, young people who took advantage of the COVID challenge, as well as the digital economy to market themselves. But before I do that, I want to mention again that this is the Imo Economy Study Network, a program showcasing opportunities in Imo State, coordinated by the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor to the Imo State government. And we have an interesting set of panelists discussing some of these issues. So Frank, do you want to unmute yourself and tell us about this case study you have of some young men you have helped to showcase what they have to the world? And whilst you are doing that, if the Honorable Commissioner is still around, I will invite him afterwards to reflect on some of the things he has had.
Yes, these are one of the many examples of how young people can tap into the tourism economy. I just listened to Chike talking about photography. Right here in Lagos, over the weekend at parties, at tourist spots, you see young persons with their cameras. In fact, they even to a video vlog. You know, they do videos for you, 5 minutes of whatever you do, and they send it onto your phone and they make their money. You know, so these are, you know, opportunities that we could have in the state. But before I go to all this, let me just share one little one I had in my village. Many years ago, no history of my place. I decided to go ask my uncles, how did we evolve and all those things? You know, there's this saying that our people are lion killers. You know, they do the old days. And who are the family that led to it? Of course, my research provoked a lot of rather interesting comments. In fact, at the point, it was like, oh, I wanted to change the history of the community. Actually, I listened that, of course, I interviewed a lot of old people. And from there, just like what you're saying, the economy. What are the economy that we can really talk about for our people? I look at it, we have palm trees and everything, and I say, okay, fine, let's try and see how we can navigate it and make our young people really, you know, have jobs that are sustaining them. Of course, because I don't stay in town, that of course, it still things are, you know, in the works as the case may be. But from all various examples that have been laid out here, these young people, in fact, that's what would, you know, it's a new variant now called decatation. So just a one-day thing, they take you around. You know, if you are interested in boating, they take you, they put you on their video blog. They can take your pictures, you know, find places. Sometimes you don't even know you're participating in those activities. And by the time they are through, your pocket is empty, so to say, because you needed to pay for all these things and you're happy, you are having it because there must be a history of it, because everything is about experience. So tourism is about selling the experience and doing all those. So the young persons in Imo State, believe me, like I said, we need to get them together. We need to set various ideas to which they can benefit. And then culture, we need to find out what exactly is our strength. Our strength is very important. Is it in culture? Is it in cuisines? Is it in hospitality? Is it in sports tourism? I used to remember the Imo female basketballers. They used to be champions of Nigeria many years ago. And everybody want to come to us and look at this lady. It's very strong in the field. In fact, nobody beats them. Of course, those things are dead. And these are opportunities that can create jobs. Of course, internationally today, you know, sports is big business, as the case may be. So these are areas that young persons, opportunities lies that, you know, people can benefit from. And even the tourism marketers and destination managers, you know, combining. In Kogi some years ago, one lady, she said some very one little place. And of course, the state had to get involved through their bureau and said, brush her up, taught her to things that she needed to know. And even in helping marketing her, in promoting her, before you know it, everybody that comes to Kogi ends up in that place. In fact, the lady today is one of the biggest, you know, entertainment operators in Kogi State. So we can do this, just like Clara said earlier, you know, where she went, there are a lot of beautiful places. And of course, even in terms of logistics, in Lagos today, you can sit in your house and order your food. Or for anywhere, you can order anything. You can change the parts of your car in seconds. All you needed to just get these bike boys who have been branded, you know, they are registered. They know everybody that operates on it, and they can get it for you. So these are also business opportunities that are young people or investors that can get into. So many of them, Prof. Many that
Thank you very much. Time is not always our friend when it comes to these opportunities. The Honorable Commissioner, there are people online asking questions about how they can participate and co-invest if there are opportunities like that, especially if you are looking at towards the Uguta axis. And also if there are constraints, I mean, in terms of opportunities in maybe, I mean, tourism can be broad depending on how you look at it. And if you include hospitality in there, and there are some businesses that are probably allowed or not allowed in Imo State, like outdoor clubs or games and places like that. Could they also provide opportunities for people looking at tourism in that sense? So the Honorable Commissioner, I don't know if you still hear us, or you can unmute yourself and speak to how individuals can co-invest with the government if that's an option, And if you can do that in 2 minutes, that'll be fine because we need to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable the Chief Economic Advisor. I listened to all. I must tell you that this is very, very educative, very elucidating, very exciting as well. I have learned a lot listening to the contributors. Yes, there are opportunities. Before then, let me say, we are aware that we need to provide necessary enabling environments. And we are dealing with that presently. That's why, for those of us who have not been to Imo in recent times, probably will notice the difference between infrastructural, rehabilitations going on and now and what it was then. I mean, look, take the road infrastructure, for instance. The governor has done marvelously well in that area, having in mind making it more accessible to tourists. That's one. Two, I'm sure we are aware that most people are very, not just hospitable, but very, very humorous entertainers. We're also trying to harness that, talking about cultural tourism and things like that. And we also believe in PPP. Imo government presently believes in PPP for very serious-minded investors. We are prepared to get into deals with them so that we can give them the environment to invest. The government contributes necessary things like land and all that. So there are opportunities, as a matter of fact, and government is not sleeping on its own responsibilities. We only need to get to know serious investors. We'll get cracking with them. You know, frankly, the governor is so passionate about turning him into a tourism destination. What it used to be before. I'm happy with one of the panelists who talked about indality and things like that. We have too many indalities now in Imo State. And the Chief Economic Advisor tried to draw attention to, consultants can move in, pick some of these people. All you need to inform us that you would like to get to meet with social service so you can interact with the person with a view to turning his or her facility into a tourist attraction. We will give you, we will make the connections. So all we need is for people to indicate interest and come to invest in Imo. And then we also, like I said before, we're prepared to put our cards on the table. You make a choice, which area you're interested in. We'll be very willing to assist, as a matter of fact.
Okay, that's fine, Honorable Commissioner. Thank you very much. Clara, I just want you in 30 seconds, if you don't mind, if you have any final thoughts. I want to be sure I'm fair and balanced because you need a second chance. Do you have, 30 minutes, 30 seconds parting words?
I picked from the Honorable Commissioner who just spoke about the Kindred empowerment program that Imo State is trying to promote. I think is a very good initiative because in Imo State, every community has something to show. And that program, I believe, will enable us to attempt to curb youth restiveness. Because when the youth are engaged in one activity or the other, they are distracted from some of the vices that we find in our time now. So, and we would encourage them to look into the area of tourism because tourism is very local, is community-based, is cultural-based. So there are a lot of areas that they can engage in through the Kindred Empowerment Program. That's one. Two,
okay,
tourism.
Maybe Clara, I mean, sorry, because it's the interest of time, because the radio station will keep us out in a minute. So, well, thanks for that, and it's well noted, and we'll follow up with you to see if you can get more ideas from you, Clara.
I just wanted, to add one more thing. In all that we have said, Imo State needs to have a tourism summit.
Okay.
A summit that will bring together all the tourism players across the country and sometimes international. We're looking at business opportunities. So we have to gather all the players together in one room, showcase what Imo State has, and be able to draw investor interest from there.
Okay.
Is a very key thing. It's a good way to start. Have a steering committee, organize a tourism summit, invite people from everywhere, make a presentation of the opportunities, what Imo State has. And from there is a good way to start. And believe me, after that, you'll see a lot of investor interest.
Okay, thank you very much. And that's all we have time for because the radio station will soon kick us out. So once again, thank you, our listeners. My name is Kenneth Amechi, the Chief Economic Advisor, and I anchor this. I want to use this opportunity to thank the Honorable Commissioner for hosting us, Barrister Jerry Egemba, and also my team, Jovita Agu, Adeze Waka, and Adeza Shaheme for putting together an interesting program. And also thank our panelists for doing a very interesting, sharing very interesting insights with us. We thank you all and see you in the next 2 weeks. And we thank also the radio stations, Caesar FM, Orient FM, and Buzz FM for joining us. Please stay tuned and meet you another time. Bye-bye.